tonight.
This is it.
Good evening. Call the meeting to order, please, with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, and thank you, everyone, for coming. As you can hear, fall is officially underway. Roll call, Mr. Lundberg.
Oh.
Yes.
Woody is absent. Saxer.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Bell is absent.
All right, with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented, please.
So moved.
There's been a first and a second. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Conflict of interest disclosure waiver requests, there are none this evening. Takes us to approval of the minutes from our regular meetings on August 12th and August 26th. I would entertain a motion to approve those as presented, please.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Community input, I'm not seeing any community input this evening, so that takes us to our next item, financial items, bills and claims. Mr. Lundberg, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Presented tonight to you, we're just under $1.8 million of bills and claims. I had a couple noted. Feel free to ask me any questions that you guys might have. On page 6, Guarantee Roofing, we replaced a roof on the Brandon Elementary wood gym. Page 7, right in the middle, High Point Networks, $295,000, 550 Chromebooks. We've really switched to a Chromebook environment in a lot of our school now. They one-to-one in middle school, intermediate, and now we've factored it down into the elementary with the carts and stuff, and they tell me it's working real well. Page 11, 2 new school buses, North Central Bus and Equipment, $301,304, $150,000 apiece. And then total bills, $1,799,172. Advance payments breakdown was just over $5,000. Pay vouchers for the month of September, $47,629. And lastly, there was food service bills of $159,525.
Any questions for Mr. Lundberg on the bills and claims this evening? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve them as presented, please.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Financial report, Mr. Lundberg.
Okay, continuing quickly going through the cash report for the month of August. $11,009,000 starting the month of August. We had $2.8 million of receipts and $4,680,000 of disbursements. Left $9,149,000 at the end of August. $7.6 million was in the general fund, $1,188,000 in the special ed fund, $345,000 in the bond redemption fund, and $29,000 in the enterprise fund. $2.8 million of receipts are itemized on the next 2 pages. Investment report of $6.7 million at South Dakota Fit at 5%. Payroll for the month of August was $2,160,706. And lastly, the trust and agency statement contained $227,221.
Any questions on the financial report this evening? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve those as presented, please.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Lundberg. General business, administration reports, Administrative Center, Superintendent Larson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple items to update the board on here this evening. We continue to work through our strategic planning process. We'll be working with our small focus groups and then presenting here later this fall, again, looking at a December adoption to align with BV Vision 2040. Enrollment at this point in time, or as of Friday, we were up 113 students. So it had ticked up just a bit, junior kindergarten through grades 12. So that's where we are currently at. East Side Elementary, we continue to work through that process. The contractor has their job trailer out there. Grading permit has been obtained, and we'll start to see dirt move here as soon as this week, maybe next week. But should see that action begin to occur any day. Free and reduced meal applications are available, and then we also just want to note all families should complete their Skyward Family Access updates, and that's an aspect of that as well. In terms of academic calendar, it's time we start talking about parental and family engagement. On Monday, October 7th, our elementary and our high school will have parent-teacher conferences. On October 8th, our intermediate school and middle school will host parent-teacher conferences. There is no school for a comp day on October 11th, and there is no school for students on October 14th. We have in-service. And then I had one other respective item. It's information only. I just want to make certain that we speak to it, I guess. I am not an individual who is one to tell the public how to vote on specific issues. However, I do think it is incredibly important that our citizens educate themselves on ballot measures and be actively engaged in the democratic process, which ultimately means they exercise their right to vote. I am 28. I think it's important for our patrons to take a look at IM 28. It proposes the elimination of sales tax on all items for human consumption. This gets a little wonky in the fact that some people believe it's a grocery tax, but it's written as human consumption. So in accordance to a memo produced by the Legislative Research Council, they estimate that it could be up to $640 some odd million in terms of a cut to the state revenue. So that is a huge number. I believe that represents just about 25% of the state's budget, if my memory serves me correctly. Now, there are also estimates that show it at 130 some million, but that's only if it was on food or groceries. So that's not how the bill is written. It's important for folks to understand that. It is written on human consumption. So again, we just ask our citizens and encourage our citizens to educate themselves on the ballot measure, all ballot measures really, and be actively engaged in the democratic process, ultimately exercising their right to vote. I would note that Associated School Boards of South Dakota as well as SDEA have come out in opposition to IM 28, so we just note that for public understanding. But ultimately, we want to encourage our citizens to educate themselves on the ballot measures, be actively engaged, and get out there and vote, giving consideration to how all of these ballot measures may impact our respective situations. With that, would certainly entertain any questions that you have.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lundberg, anything additional tonight? Okay. High school, Mr. Schleckaway? Okay. Middle school, anything tonight? Okay. Intermediate school? Okay. Special services? Any of the elementaries? Director of Instruction? Operations Manager? Activities Director? All right. Thank you. Board policy, there is none tonight. That takes us to item number 1 under general business, to acknowledge the Brandon Valley Education Association notification of contract negotiations for 2025 and beyond. Oh, it's consent, so never mind.
We have one item.
Obviously, I can't read, so I'll put the glasses back on. All right, I would entertain a motion to approve number 1 under general business.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Personnel, I would entertain a motion to approve items 1 through 5, please.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Communication under central office, if you would like to review building permit applications, you can certainly do so. There's also a thank you note there to the Board of Education. That takes us to formal board reports. Does anyone have one this evening they would like to share?
Madam Chair, just on behalf of Member Bell, the Special Education Fund Committee continues to work through their respective process. We just note that it's challenging and difficult work when you evaluate available resources and needs and all of those respective things, but appreciate all the work that that committee is doing. Within our second meeting, we evaluated and took a look at revenues, and we'll be moving towards the expenditure components. So look forward to bringing forward some recommendations here in future months.
Thank you. Travel reports, there's one for you to look at. Otherwise, that takes us to, go ahead.
I forgot something.
Oh, you forgot something. Yep.
Madam Chair, would also just note, would speak to the capital outlay certificate issuance that we have worked through. So we had $36 million in capital outlay certificates outlined to be used for the East Side Elementary. We've already talked about how that bid process worked. The design bid build process that the Brandon Valley School District utilizes gets the most competitive pricing possible. Obviously, those numbers came in really good, and there's about $10 million remaining in capital outlay certificate issuance that we can utilize. And at this point in time, we are engaged with our design team, evaluating our 5-year plan, looking at our mid-range plan, as well as BV Vision 2040. We're going to put together a framework for that. We'll bring it back to you at our next respective meeting for presentation, and then we'll continue to work through that respective process. But just an update on that, we are working behind the scenes in terms of designing a framework for those respective sources of revenue. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, and thank you for coming tonight.